Welcome to Psychic Evolution with evidential psychic medium Jamie Clark and spiritual coach and healer Maggie Clark.
And welcome back to another episode of Psychic Evolution. I'm Jamie Clark.
And I'm Maggie Clark, and this is the podcast where you discover the psychic potential within to empower yourself and manifest your psychic and mediumship gifts.
And these abilities are so natural. They're supernatural.
So today we want to get into a really fun subject all about stones and crystals and things that we use to enhance psychic development, mediumship development, and all the components that we go into as we're exploring life experiences, healing, dream state, whatever we might use stones for. I have been a fan of stones since, I think since I was a little kid. I used to dig in the sandbox at recess, and we would dig up these little pieces of garnet. And our first grade teacher loved garnet. So we would gather these garnets and then we'd gift them to her, and her eyes would light up and she'd get so excited. And I just remember, wow, there is value and there's beauty, and they were so pretty. You know, they're that deep, deep red burgundy color. And her eyes was just so appreciative that these little kids, were really appreciating her and gifting her with something beautiful. And I think she actually loved all stones, but that's what we found in the sandbox. Going back, that was the first time that I saw the value of stones. And then as I grew up and as I got older, I learned all about stones. I had a really great friend who is currently on the other side, and she studied geology. That's what she majored in college. And then she went forth and really taught me so much about using different stones for different purposes. Sometimes she'd just be like, come here. And she'd take a piece of shungite or something, and she'd be clearing my energy field and my auric field. Then she'd be like, here, hold this, do this, do this. And she'd be constantly educating me and giving me all these different stones. So over the years, and we were friends for at least 8 years, I think, before she passed, I just learned so much, and I utilized everything she taught me. And so going into this podcast episode, we really wanted to share some of the more potent ones that we have found. Jamie has found his own way. I found my own way, and just share those with you so that you can start using those in your psychic development.
And with such a variety of potentials, of abilities with all of these different crystals and these stones, Chi, my master guide, kind of equates it to the chakra system as well, that we have the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and white for me on the chakra, the crown chakra. But in addition, as I've shared, those who know me, that when I was activated in my chakras, when I was a host of a TV show and we were doing an interview with Bill Holman, the keeper of the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull, and when I touched that skull, all of my chakras went white. And I'm like, what's going on? Is something messed up? I hadn't seen that before because I'm used to all the different colors. And Chi let me know the fact that that was an activation with all of the chakras on all of the frequencies in one shot. And so no matter what, in this case, as we perceive colors and stuff, white is the encompassment of all of the colors of the spectrum. So for myself, if all of my chakras are white, no matter what chakra you're working with, you're getting the full capacitation of that crystal quality. And it becomes what we accept as a reality for these meanings. And just for me, a lot of us is the purple is for transmutation, purification. It is for protection. And my thing is unless you've done the molecular structuring and the vibrational light frequency targeting of that crystal, do we really know that those are the qualities that are connected to those? Or is there a potential that we're receiving information, and the information that we've received, we now apply to that particular crystal, stone, whatever the case is? And with that, we function from there. So it becomes the law of equivalence. If you accept it as a reality, it will be for you. And so we wanted to get into the versatility of the crystals as well. Chi let me know, for me, that all of those crystals can be activated through your own energy signature, all being used at the same time. We give the meaning to a particular stone or experience, and then we live it. And so now it becomes the law of equivalence. And yet, guess what? It keeps happening. People use the purple stones, they use the blue, any of those, whatever these different crystals are, we have the power. We are the essence of it. And so for myself, instead of seeing it as all separated, for me, those who know me know I have a lot of crystals and stuff in my pockets, but I have it as a pocketed energy of connection, meaning all of my energy field that is vibing with these crystals that are in my energy field are harmonized with my particular energy field, just mine. That way there's no intrusion of other people, nothing like that. But it also became the more solid, expanded connection through all of the different crystals that I work with through the one frequency of oneness. And so when I've learned to harmonize the crystals for myself in my own energy field, uniquely for my soul part of consciousness, I know that it's directly for me. So whether I have them on or not, it is still a reality that I work with, because I can do readings with or without crystals. It's just, for me, it's a nice comfort. I'm used to it. It's a good energy, and it's always a good energy. But I've learned to perpetuate that. I entrain how that feels so that if I don't have crystals or whatever the case is, I'm still in that vibe, right? Because isn't that it? If I've got these crystals in my pocket, then I'm on this and I'm doing that and I'm tuned in. Yeah, okay, perfect. We're now creating that self-fulfilling prophecy.
I love that you bring up the chakra system and the colors, because there are relationships to the colors in the chakra systems, including with the stones. So you can see that any stone that is green is going to resonate with the heart chakra. Any stone that blue will have a resonance with the throat chakra just because of the relationships. And all the oneness is a study of relationships and how they interconnect with each other and how they are connected to that oneness. But we do sometimes break it down into portions, just like we do with our chakra system. We break our chakra system as one continuous system, but we break it into sections. We sectionalize it so that we can work with different aspects of humanity through our chakra system. And so we do the same thing with stones. And it's just amazing. I love, though, that you bring up that we can program a stone to do anything we choose. It's asking the stone to be a participant in our life. When you sit with a stone, when you commune with stones, they have an energy, they speak to you, they have a communication, they share with you. You know, we always encourage to develop that practice with all the stones that you use. When we look at the different colors of stones, there is that connection, there is that commonality to the things that have the same resonance.
I believe in the heart chakra, we see that as green.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the rose quartz that is pink is associated with love. Now we have two different colors, both representing the same vibrational pattern of love.
So when you look at the chakra system, like, you see white as the crown chakra. Some people see purple, just so you know, there's different trains of thought. Some people see white as maybe the 8th chakra, or that connection to higher self that encompasses the totality of the full chakra system. But whatever your system looks like, if you take the root chakra of red and you combine it with white, you get pink. And the heart chakra is in the center of the chakra system. You know, it's exactly in the middle of the lower chakras and the upper chakras. So that's that relationship also with the pink energy, with the harmonization of love. And so, yes, the green is the heart chakra, but the pink also is a harmonization for a frequency of love, which is where we need to open our hearts to be able to access or feel more of love as it is flowing through us, as it is us, as it is everything.
You know, and I think beginning to put the practicality of spirituality, meaning these are tools and techniques that Mag and I do. We just want to share with you what we do that works for us. And if you want to, give it a try. But at least you know that there's a variety of different ways that you can work with your crystals, your own reality, any of those dynamics. And it becomes the empowerment of self-realization.
So let's get into some fun stones and some fun stories of how we use them, because That is actually more important. I think the stories are more important so that you have a relationship to the stones and why you would wear something or why you would hold a stone in your pocket or why you would put it on an altar or your crystal grid or however you use your stones. So where should we start? You want to start with safety?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
safeties.
Okay. So when I was younger, I didn't have as much confidence, of course, and I didn't feel as safe in my life. So that was like one of the first places that I started exploring stones was, okay, what stones do I need to clear out negative energy? What stones do I need to keep myself harmonized, what I considered safe and protected? And so what I discovered and what I learned very early on from my friend Myra was smoky quartz was one that would always help dispel negative energy, basically. And obsidian will absorb negative energy. So you have two stones that can work doing the same thing, but they function a little bit differently. In my understanding, what she was explaining to me was the obsidian would absorb it, but that would mean you'd have to clean the obsidian more because if there was a lot of negative energy or any that it would absorb, you'd have to continually clean it so it doesn't all of a sudden absorb to its maximum point and then start emitting that negative energy into your environment. So these two stones I started working with. And then also I wanted something to wear. I wanted something to put on my body. And so I discovered turquoise. And it is one of my favorite stones. And I wore it for years. And I would always use turquoise. My teacher was half Lakota Sioux. And so he taught me about the essence of protecting and providing as we go through life. A lot of us really connect to that energy of protecting or providing or showing up for the underdog, right? And so he saw this quality of me and he's like, okay, I think turquoise and coral would be a great connection because turquoise is the more active part of protection and coral is the more softer, nurturing part of feeling safe. And both of those hand in hand, the Native Americans will use. And it has a great connection to the earth as well. So that was one that I wear all the time for safety.
As you're sharing that, notice the different aspects of what you're able to do. This brought me this point of safety, and then this one is for protection, and then this one is the harmonized safety of it. And so both of those working together, two different crystals, but working on the same frequency, one seeing it as protective, the other one seeing it as safe, seeming like it's semantics playing on words, but it becomes that energy vibe of safety. So no matter what you're doing, because you put that intent in that crystal structure and in your energy frequency, it is working all the time. Here's a question. Did they ever go over automatic release, meaning as the crystals filter and harmonize, suck up the negative energy or whatever the case is, do they release it, or is it like that they have to be held on to until they get maximum capacity and then it has to be clean and cleared? Could you just put an intent within that crystal structure that as much as it cleans and clears and keeps you safe, it is always clean and cleared and safe?
I believe that that's possible, but from my education on stones, there are some stones that you should clean more often because of the functions that they do. There are certain stones that don't need to be cleaned. And pink kunzite is actually one of them.
Why?
Because it resonates with unconditional love. And that never needs to be, I guess, cleansed. Now, of course, I run underwater sometimes to clean it. I cleanse my stones either using water, running them underwater, but most of the time I cleanse them energetically just by clearing out negativity with my hands. Because I really feel we have everything we need within us, including all the cleaning tools that we need. Water is a great cleanser and a great conductor of energy. So I always encourage that to be used. Other than that, I just use my own energy because I like to use everything that we are to be able to do it, whatever it is that we need to do. And speaking of pink kunzite, though, I went through this phase where I really was practicing unconditional love, like a conscious, meditative, day-to-day practice of loving everybody I met, everybody I came into contact with. I wore a piece of kunzite nonstop. I don't think I ever took it off for maybe once in a blue moon, but I wore it all the time for about 8 years. And I did this so that I could harmonize my energy and really focus on being love and feeling love and loving other people without judgment. And it was part of my practice of development was I just want to love everybody because that's a living example that I wanted to be. And so I wore that pink kunzite for 8 years straight.
Again, with that ability of 8 years straight and the pink kunzite of what it was doing, it doesn't seem like you're wearing that now, but yet you still have the same effects? Or how does that work for you?
Actually, I do have a piece of kunzite on this necklace.
Which one?
This is an astrology necklace. For those of you who don't know, I started recently making astrology jewelry that is focused on your blueprint. So it's focused on your natal chart. And there's several different designs. One will follow your natal chart. One's a spiritual warrior necklace that's the one I'm wearing right now. It sits between your throat and your solar plexus. And then there's some other designs. There's a personality design. There's Ostara's charms, which also includes the part of fortune. And of course, all of these are customizable. If you have a relationship to certain asteroids that you want in there, we can add those in. They're all handmade and customized and based solely on your astrology chart. But there is pink kunzite in this. So I haven't given up on pink kunzite. I actually have a piece of pink kunzite around the house. There's a couple around the house that I just kind of vibe with. I leave them where they are right now. And honestly, when you're wearing a stone, when you're done wearing it, it'll just feel like you're ready for a change or ready for something different. And I was in love with this stone, but the reason I actually passed it on because I had a really good friend going through a challenging time with a lot of energy. And I felt like that unconditional love would be the most effective bang for your buck. Plus, I had worn it for 8 years. So it had my energy, my love, all the energy that I had put into loving people unconditionally infused with that stone after so long. And so I gifted this to her, said, here, use this, wear it, do what you like with it, and then when she was done with it, she gave it back to me. And actually, Jamie, I don't know if you remember, but this is the first gift I gave you was one of my most valuable possessions, and it was the pink kunzite. And so again, sharing my love with you. And that's another thing, these stones, when you're using them with conscious intent, they build the energy into them so well. And then you can gift them, you can share them with people. Even on our store, we charge all of the stones that we have on our shop, just so that when you receive these, they're going to be infused with love and positivity and empowerment energy, because that's what we want to put out into the world. So other stones that actually help with love that I've used, of course, we mentioned rose quartz. That's a really good one. Anything that connects to that heart. Usually any of the green stones will help connect to the heart. Also, I love rhodochrosite. It has a really cool vibe. It's a pink stone, has sometimes a little bit of brown and black. It weaves through. It's beautiful. I love that for the inner child of the heart. Also, chrysocolla. It's a green stone. I love that for the heart as well. So those are a couple of stones that I love just to open up the heart and open up all the things that we might work with a heart, whether it's the inner child or the love or feeling.
You bring up an interesting point to me, and that is with the gifting and the sharing from your friend and with your friend. You had 8 years of energy vibes within that crystal as you shared it, because it didn't more than likely lose that energy, but it became the encapsulated energy that your energy on that stone, in this case, that pink kunzite, is charged with love, compassion, energy. And now you shared that. Did that vibe with your friend and she was able to tune into your crystal channel within that pink kunzite? Or did you give it to her so that it was kind of like in her own gifting, her own energy alignment of this crystal, even though you had worn it beautifully for 8 years?
Well, yeah, I gifted it saying, this is a tool, right? Use it however you need to. And when I gift something, it's freely gifted. So if she wanted to cleanse my energy out of it, go for it. I'm okay with that. I don't think that was her intention. But, of course, if someone gifts you something, it's now yours to use. And I just thought, wow, this is a highly charged stone. It's got a lot of good energy and it's supported me through all the hard, challenging times that I had just learning how to love myself and love other people unconditionally. So here you go.
Did you get some validation from her with some of her experiences along the way that maybe validated? Go, yep, it's working.
Well, I think she really appreciated it like tremendously because she knew how much it meant to me. And I just think she values our friendship and she valued that gesture. And it did mean a lot to her. Absolutely.
I think that's beautiful. And
Yeah.
you can co-create these realities with other people. Same crystal and more energy that's shared within it. Because with the pink kunzite, you more than likely didn't have it on full capacity and had to re-cleanse it. It's you had that energy, 8 years beautifully vied with your soul print of consciousness, and you shared it with her. That's powerful.
I gift a lot of things. At one point, I gifted every piece of turquoise I had. And I was like, where's my turquoise? And then someone gifted me another piece of turquoise after that. It was just because someone needed it more than I needed it at that moment. I said, here, have it, take it. It will help you. And I'm constantly gifting things. And I think this started when I was a kid. I gifted my school teacher garnet. And then also it is a way to share because we don't want to work from a lack mentality. Like if someone needs something and you have it, why not share it? And so this is part of just the way that I am with my stones. If I feel like someone could use a stone that I have, I'm like, here you go, have it, it's yours. If I feel like I still need it for myself, I might keep it for myself. You know, I'm not going to negate myself just to serve someone else. However, I love to share, you know, I love to gift people things that, especially things that I feel they be utilized and can harmonize someone's energy. It's beautiful.
I think it's really nice when you can share the gift of love that way. And it's an object, it's a physical object, yet it vibes with the love, the safety, the harmony, the empowerment of whatever intent that you're sharing within it. Do you do that with these stones as well, with the astrology necklaces?
Well, the astrology necklace, every stone is chosen for each planet. And the meanings of the planet, the stones that have relationships to how they can work, co-create and work together and harmonize. And then as I'm beating them, it's really fascinating. I started, calling in this past life memory of beading when I was in Egypt. And I was like, whoa, I've never beaded in my life. I'm like a newbie. I had to ask for a lot of help from this beautiful woman at the bead store. Show me how to do this and do this. And she was so kind enough to show me just because I had this vision of doing this jewelry. And so as I was beading, I was like, oh my gosh, I've done this before. And I, was able to recall some of that past life memory, where it was from. So for me, it's been like kind of just a fun journey of knowing myself as well. But as I'm doing it, I actually charge each stone to harmonize the planetary energy in each sign of someone's natal chart so that it's not just like I'm making a necklace and there you go. It's like, no, I am saying, oh my gosh, this moonstone connected to your moon sign is going to optimize this. And because I know the relationships of what that means, I pull in all my understanding of the high vibration of a moon sign in a certain sign, or the planet, say Neptune, if it's in Sagittarius, what does that mean? And how do I harmonize that? And how do I say, okay, Lapis, you are in that deep Piscean water of Neptune, and I want you to really help people dig in deep into that big ocean that you are. It's meditative and it's just really a cool experience. And then, of course, I charge all the stones with just the highest vibration that they could be so that they can optimize their natal chart working together. Like the personality bracelet is just the inner planets. And it really was created for children to help develop their personalities as they get older. Of course, there's some for adults too. Well, anyway, you can check out all the different creations. Yes. But back to stones. So that's a great example of programming a stone for a specific intent and a high vibration. But of course, I'm choosing stones that I think would manifest and help really bring to the full potential of each planet.
And notice what you're saying. You feel that that's the strongest connection to that planet. Mm-hmm. Perfect. It's an energy. It's a crystal, just like the other ones, or a stone, but you've chosen a certain stone with meaning to it. Now that meaning of the stone is placed within that piece of information, and now it just vibes with that strongly. And so kind of interesting, but like the awareness that you accept something as a reality is is that's the end result of beautiful manifestation. You're now on that whole completeness as a soul productive consciousness, your evolution in this particular lifetime with the stars. And that kind of a connection is we are these eternal beings who have always been connected and interconnected. And I think it's beautiful that we, in this case as humans, are reconnecting with our spiritual divinity, with the oneness of who we truly are, and the realization that knowledge is power. And with the knowledge is, what do you give meaning to? That's the power.
So one of the questions is, what can I use for healing? And this really depends on what you're healing. If you're healing the heart, you might go for something with the heart chakra, like a rose quartz or a rhodochrosite to heal the inner child. But overall, I think fuchsite is amazing for healing. I also have used that quite a bit. And also fluorite is really, really nice. It's a purple and a green. So it has that green of the heart chakra. Usually what you'll see with some of the healing stones is they are also green. So even fuchsite is like this green with ribbons of like gold, like sheen to it. It's really beautiful. But you also might find that you need to heal with being able to communicate. And then you're going to go for maybe a blue lace agate or a sodalite or something different. And so ask yourself, where do you need healing? And I think, honestly, starting with the inner child is a great place. Going for a rhodochrosite or a rose quartz or a pink kunzite, something like that, is also chrysocolla. All of those are amazing. But if you're healing something physical, you can go into all kinds of arenas. And people that actually study stones and crystals and teach this are really educated on what's good for what physical types of healing projects you may have. I did research this for one of my friends with cancer. And found out that smoky quartz was good for cancer. I was like, who would have thunk? I mean, I didn't know that. And so you can research these things. So we'll put a link in the show notes for a crystal program through a local store of ours called Storm Wisdom. Charles McAlpine is the owner of Storm Wisdom, and he has an online teaching for learning stones and crystals. So we'll put that link in the show notes as well. So really, it depends on what you're healing. And then talking to someone who actually specializes in this field is really good. But you can find a lot of things out on the internet, of course. I do want you to just kind of think about, what is it that I'm healing and how do I want to approach it, and then kind of go forward.
Are there different crystals for different ways of healing? Like maybe healing a relationship, or healing your own soulship, or a friendship, or whatever the case is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why, when we talk about healing, oh my gosh, it's such a vast subject, because I think every stone can heal you. Every stone can harmonize your energy field. The aspect is, where are you wanting the empowerment and the harmonization energy to flow into the healing? Exactly. So, okay, now psychic development. This is the good stuff right here. Now, I started really working with some psychic development in my dream state at one point. So the stones that I used mostly was celestite. I kept a piece of celestite by my bed. Actually, I even slept with it under my pillow at times. But there's other stones that are really good for dreams and also for just that expansion of psychic energy. Angelite is amazing. It's one that we used at our evening with Spirit Under the Stars. We had gifted all the attendees a piece of angelite because they help you connect to your spirit guides, and they can really harmonize the angel frequency. So it was a beautiful gifting that we had at that event. Lapis is also good for the dream state. I also have been really playing with labradorite for psychic development my whole life. It is just this really wild, magical stone with lots of colors of green and blue and a sheen and a purple. And it's amazing. I've worn that for many years just to work with opening up more of the higher chakras, the third eye, the crown chakra. And then, of course, don't forget amethyst, right? That beautiful purple. It sits on the crown, opens you up to the higher self, the higher frequencies. So all of these stones can help with psychic development. Now, typically with psychic development, we're going to be working with the upper chakras. So the throat chakra for communication with the higher self and the inner self. So throat chakra, sodalite. We can work with blue lace agate. And again, lapis, I love lapis for all the upper chakras and also for the third eye. Working with moonstone, if you're developing your intuition, really amazing stone. So anything like that would be amazing.
And I think being able to create your own arsenal of tools, of techniques, of modalities to be able to harmonize your own energy, helping yourself as much as you want to help other people. Making sure that for myself, I always want to be safe. I always want to be calm and relaxed the best that I can. And not like, I hope I'm safe. It's like, no, I know I am. So for me, I'm able to be relaxed and not fearful. And when I can relax because I know that I'm safe, it gives me a lot more open receptivity of information and less fear and trepidation about what it is. So for myself, it's all about intent, because my intent is for Maggie and I, we're the conduits to help you to help yourself, because we got to help ourselves too. That's the point. We're not silly. But when we can do that, if we're able to help ourselves in some way, then, maybe there's something to what we're saying. But we want to share our tools and techniques, our abilities and our awareness of what we are knowing about these crystals and different modalities. But we want to give you just a huge amount of opportunity and information to see if there's something that vibes with you. So at least you've got information and then you can go from there. It's not like, I don't know nothing where nothing is. And it's, here's all of these crystals. And then now I'm getting some meanings to apply to it. So now I'm going to create my own Solodex of information with these crystals. And that's beautiful, because you'll put your own arsenal together in a beautiful way.
Yeah, it's amazing where we can go. Like, as we were thinking about this podcast episode, we're like, okay, what all stones do we want? I mean, gosh, we are only mentioning a brief handful of stones that are possible to mention, but these are just ones that we have used, especially myself, over the years. Another question that we always get is, what can we use to help ground us? How do we get more grounded? And then, of course, we want more of the earth-based stones like agates and jasper and granite. And hematite is amazing for grounding. And it's also great for safety. So you can use one stone for many, many different things. And so that is also something to think. Like, what is the best stone that can harmonize a bunch of things? And then we can choose something that, this is the perfect one for me. Manifestation is also a question we get a lot. What stones do we use for manifestation? Now, citrine is the most beautiful, lovely one that everyone really, really uses, and jade too. And we do have a huge green jade frog sitting right by our front door, So that's something that we adorned or even our home with, just because it's like, let's bring that good vibration in.
And now we can see, not only can it harmonize your energy field, your home, residence in other places, like say for us here in this house, and we know we're safe and it's a beautiful energy. Have you ever placed that energy of what you're in to another location? How does that work for you?
Absolutely. And then you can build what's called a crystal grid, where you're asking all these crystals to participate together in a project. And you give that project a name, like saying, okay, I want to manifest a home. Okay. So everything that's going into this crystal grid is going to be sending energy out in gratitude with love to manifest a home or manifest a job or relationship or whatever it is that you're cultivating. And you're going to choose stones that have the feeling that you want to manifest.
And notice choosing stones and subjects to manifest and energize.
Right. And so you create a grid that literally just emits this beautiful energy. Now, you can do this on a grid. You could also create what's called an altar, where every stone on that altar has a purpose for whatever the altar is for. Say we want to build up communication with our loved ones, right? So here we are, and we're like, okay, maybe I have a place of honoring for my loved ones with a picture and maybe some candles. Maybe I'll also put a stone here so that when I sit with this area or this energy, I feel like I can open up communication with my loved ones. And so now you're creating a place of honoring. You can call it an altar, a place of honoring, whatever it is you want to call it. I think they're the same thing. And then you can really say, okay, what helps with communication with the other side? Maybe I'll put a piece of angelite, and maybe I want to trust my intuition when I hear something. So I'll put a piece of moonstone there. And maybe also I want to feel the love of my loved ones. And I'm going to just, maybe I'll put a piece of rose quartz there just to remind myself that it's love that allows me to feel their presence. You could reach out into different areas of how do you want yourself to feel as you're making those connections? And then you'll pick stones that really resonate with that type of communication, that type of opening of the doorway, that cosmic connection. I think it's beautiful that we can work so easily. And once those stones have a job to do, they're happy. They're like, thank you for honoring me and recognizing that I'm an amazing, energetic being here. Even though we don't think of that about stones, they emit an energy and a vibration. They're just as alive as we are, just in a different form. They're just in a different form. The only other one that I really want to connect with is creativity, okay? And passion, because sometimes and I've heard this a lot, that people are getting drained energetically. They're not feeling their energy as much. They want to get back to where they were and all these things. And so I really encourage you to grab something that triggers creativity. I love yellow calcite. I love carnelian for these projects. I was gifted a Botswana agate, which is great for creativity. And that was a long time ago. So you can, really kind of dig into the stones that resonate with that. So if you're not sure what stones, you could try like a carnelian, a yellow calcite, something that really connects you to yourself, your passion. And of course, we chose carnelian for the Mars energy, to bring about that vital life force energy. Also, garnet is really good for a vital life force energy. Ruby is really good for vital life force energy. And all of these we've used.
And I think when you can give a variety of different ways to work with these modalities to energize crystals, harmonize any of those dynamics, it becomes a lot more consistent, a lot more accepting as a reality to go, no, when I put this intent or this mantra, it energizes, it cleans, it clears. Is there a difference between clearing a location or a person's energy field or a person's past life experience circumstances, or is it all pretty much the same thing?
It's pretty much the same thing. Of course, don't forget about quartz, clear quartz, and don't forget about selenite. These are two that will harmonize. Quartz you can use to amplify any energy that you're working with. And selenite can also be an amplifier and also just a really nice clearing energy.
And we want to thank you for taking this journey with us in your psychic evolution, because we are all growing together. We are all coming together, and we are all one.
And so if you've heard, oh my God, Maggie makes astrology jewelry, I need one, just reach out. We'll hook you up, send me a message, and we'll definitely see what it is that you would like. But also, Jamie and I have a great announcement. We just finished finalizing some planning for our Star Seed Awakening retreat. Now, it's going to be myself and Jamie and also Vivian Chavette. And she was on season 3 and season 4 of the podcast. And we're going to have her on again season 5 because we actually love her. She's an Arcturian hybrid. And so we're having a weekend retreat here in Phoenix in the end of July. So everything, we'll have links in the show notes for that retreat as well. We really are going to dig into freeing your inner space astronaut to connect you and immerse yourself in your starseed heritage. So there will be DNA activations, planetary grid realignments, Arcturian holographic healing. We're going to get into the astrology of some starseed connections that are happening right now and happening in the next few years, and also ancestral starseed mediumship by your one and only Jamie Clark. So if you don't know this, Jamie is really good about reading your starseed connections and some of your previous lifetimes or maybe even future lifetimes with those star seed lives. And so we're bringing all that together in a weekend retreat in July 22nd to 24th in Phoenix, Arizona. So we'll have links in the show notes. And if you can attend, we would love to have you. We're going to dig in deep to some cosmic connections. And Moldavite is a cool stone for your cosmic connections too, because it comes from the stars.
Ooh.
It's a meteor, actually. So thank you guys for tuning in today. And don't forget to charge your stones, harmonize your stones. We work with stones to do all kinds of things for us. Reach outside of the box. Ask yourself what it is that you want in your life, what it is that you're working on, and then find something to support you. Because all these stones, this is just part of the earth experience, is that we get to play with them, we get to harmonize with them, and we can work with them, and they can really assist us in this human journey.
Beautiful. Thanks for being on this journey with us. We love you.
If you have been enjoying this podcast, we please ask that you go to Apple Podcasts and go ahead and rate this podcast. Leave us an awesome review. We really appreciate your reviews. They mean a lot to us, and thank you so much. If you are listening to this on something other than Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review on our website. We also have a little microphone on the bottom right-hand corner of our website. If you want to ask a question and leave us a question, it will be a voicemail recorded. We'll play back your voice on this podcast and answer your questions if we can get to them all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you guys.
Love and light, and we'll see you in our psychic evolution.